What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We're now moving into the preparation here in Israel, Hamas, Gaza war here, as hundreds of thousands of Israel military participants are ready to invade Gaza here. And take a look here. The hospitals in Gaza are already overwhelmed with patients and desperately low on supplies as the invasion looms. And really, this is just getting started. Think about all the innocent lives on both sides that are really in the threshold here and are going to be potentially lost because of supplies and the war on both sides here. Medics in Gaza warned Sunday that thousands could die as hospitals packed with wounded people ran desperately low on fuel and basic supplies already. Palestinians in the besieged coastal enclave struggle to find food, water, and safety already, ahead of an expected Israeli ground offensive in the war sparked by Hamas's deadly attack. Israeli forces, supported by a growing deployment of U.S. warships in the region. I'll let you hear in a moment from a U.S. general, positioned themselves alongside Gaza's border and drilled for what Israel said would be a broad campaign to dismantle the militant group. A week of blistering airstrikes have demolished entire neighborhoods, but failed to stem militant rocket fire into Israel, which is still going on. The Gaza Health Ministry said 2,670 Palestinians have already been killed and almost 10,000 wounded, 9,600, since fighting erupted already. More than in the 2014 Gaza war, which lasted over 6 weeks. This makes this the deadliest war of the 5 Gaza wars for both sides already. More than 1,400 Israelis were killed, over the vast majority of them civilians, in the Hamas October 7th assault. At least 155 others, including children, were captured by Hamas, taken into Gaza, according to Israel. It's also the deadliest war for Israel already since 1973 conflict with Egypt and Syria. Take a listen here to General Wesley Clark on the U.S.'s position with the aircraft carriers and the U.S. fleet in the area and what our current mission is for the time being.
General Wesley Clark. So, General, first, I'm going to want to talk to you about what's going on at the border. But before that, can you just talk about the significance of these two very important U.S. naval carriers going into the region and what it is meant to do?
Sure. Those two aircraft carriers and the flotillas that go with them. So you've got about 20 ships there. You've got tremendous capacity for not only the aircraft on each aircraft carrier, but the escorts and what they can do in the way of Tomahawk missiles and other things. And so they're there as a warning. They're there as a deterrent to Iran. It's keep your hands off, stay out of it, or else. Because the general thinking is that Hezbollah is not going to go in, of course, without Iran saying, go ahead. This ties Iran directly into the assault. So, on the other hand, you can be sure that Iran is watching this. They're calculating. They're wondering whether the Israelis are going to get so bogged down in Gaza, be so tarnished in world opinion that they could justify releasing Hezbollah and go for the finish of Israel. There is going to be that kind of thinking going on in Tehran. Those two aircraft carriers are really important to stop that kind of thought.
And I just want to underscore, you say it is a deterrent. We have definitely heard some this morning in interviews not ruling out the notion of U.S. troops being involved. I think it's important to put that into context. And it certainly does not seem as though the U.S. is going to get involved in a very active way with U.S. troops in this conflict. The discussion is about how to get American hostages out and American civilians out, but mostly American hostages at this point.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm sure that we've got a joint planning going on right now with the Israelis. If we could locate the hostages, if it's possible to put in an extraction mission, I'm sure we would work with the Israelis to do that. But there's also the possibility of those U.S. forces in the north actually having to engage should Hezbollah decide to launch its 150,000 rockets against Israel. And Iran should be under no illusion. Those ships are not just there for show. Those ships are ready to go, and on the president's order, they could go. So as President Biden said, we're 100% committed to Israel. We're not going to allow the destruction of Israel.
I really want to get your perspective on what is happening inside Gaza and the idea that, according to the White House, Hamas, they're the ones who stopped Americans from getting into Egypt via the Rafah border crossing. We're talking about Palestinians. We're talking in this case about Americans who are inside Gaza. These are civilians. What does it tell you, first of all, that crossing was closed, and what is your sense of why this really happened? And you see, we're showing our viewers a map of the area we're talking about now.
Well, Dan, I think Hamas always looked at this as at least a two-phased operation. First is provoke the Israelis, do as much damage as you can, show how powerful you are, then fall back into Gaza and use the civilian population as a shield, and then attack Israel on the stage of world opinion and cause Israel to look like an evil force that's anti-humanitarian. And what's happening right now is that Hamas is losing the second phase already before the fighting's even started, because the people there are getting out of the way. Hamas may be trying to keep them in position, but Hamas is failing to do that. They are evacuating the northern area despite Hamas roadblocks. That big explosion we saw yesterday, I'd be very surprised if that was an Israeli explosion on a main evacuation route. That looks like something engineered by Hamas to intimidate its own people. Their view is that those people are, they're just human shields. They're collateral. They don't care about those people. What they're interested in is the destruction of Israel. And so the poor people in Gaza, as President Biden said, they're not all Hamas. There's a lot of really innocent people in there. Mm-hmm. They need to be protected too, and the United States and Israel are doing the best they can to do that. At the same time, Hamas needs to be eliminated, and that's what the Israeli objective is going to be eventually. But in this phase, it's already underway. Hamas is losing control of the population, and that's a huge loss for Hamas.
And this is really the worst part of war. This is probably going to be the worst part of this war as well. We've also seen this in the Russia-Ukraine war, is the innocent people in these cities that get caught up in the military-to-military action, the people that can't leave, the people that don't leave, the people that can't leave in time. And we've already seen this already in this Israel-Hamas war. And we've seen this with the surprise attack that happened on Israel from Hamas with the 2,000 plus missiles that kind of came out of nowhere. And, this is the really disgusting part of war. And this is just getting started. Who knows how long this could go on here? Remember that the Russia-Ukraine war has already gone on over a year and a half. We're in the 20th month here, and it could go on for who knows how long. The Russian former president, Dmitry Medvedev, says that this could be a decades-long war. Russia shows no signs of giving up, no matter what at this point. And they said they're not going to give up unless they take over a significant part of Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't want to give up its land because that means giving up its people, giving up its resources. And Russia is already starting to draft the Ukraine people from the territory that Russia controls into Russia's army. That means that Russia's going to put these Ukraine men from ages 18 to 30, they're literally drafting these Ukraine men and putting them on the front line into Russia's army. So they're gonna literally murder them. They're gonna put them into Russia's army on the front lines and kill them anyways. So this is the problem, is that even if Ukraine does seek peace at some point and makes it a negotiation, a peace treaty at some point, if there's a stalemate or something, and Ukraine says, okay, we're going to make peace, we can't see a way to win, or whatever happens, right? And Ukraine says, all right, we will give up territory to Russia. Russia's then going to take those people that Russia then considers theirs and put them on the front lines in Russia's army. And what do you think is going to happen to those people? They're gone. They're dust. They're going to be put on the front lines in Russia's armies. They're going to be the first ones to go. Putin doesn't care. They'll literally be gone. They're fodder. They're meat. This is the problem. And this makes Ukraine even more so not want to seek peace, because Russia's already doing it. So why, if you're Ukraine, why would you want to seek peace now when you already see what Russia's doing to Ukraine people? So yeah, this is the problem with war and even seeking peace and negotiation. Yeah, and you think about what Hamas is doing. Hamas has already taken hostages here. Who knows how many at this point, and a lot of them have been found dead. And it's tough to seek peace negotiations when stuff like this happens, right? How can you negotiate with terrorists when this is the type of stuff that happens, and you're expected to negotiate with these people? And if you negotiate, it's like, I mean, how many times have you seen movies, or even not even in movies, you just look back on history, you think about Hitler, look at all the countries that negotiated with Hitler, and then a month or two or three later, and he just bulldozed right over the people he negotiated with. I mean, history just shows us, right, what happened. You guys can let me know your thoughts here on this, but will history repeat itself? Have people learned? Yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. I'll keep you up to date. Don't forget to like and share these videos so people can see what is going on here on a daily basis. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been doing a few less videos. If you can't tell, I'm a little sick. We're all a little bit sick over here. So hopefully I'll do as many videos as possible. But if you have the bell notification on after you subscribe, you'll get notifications when we go live. Click here to see what just happened in Israel could be a game changer, or click here to see the ominous war warning that China just issued to the US. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.